After MrBeast handed me the third $10,000 briefcase, he said, please, please, do not tell Sean about it. And then I tell him, Mr. Dennon, I obviously can't use this card you made me. Everyone's gonna know I'm cheating. Hello, I'm Morski. I'm a board game YouTuber, and I recently attended a secret DUNE Imperium tournament hosted by MrBeast team and the creator of the game, Direwolf. It was a sick event. They rented out a hotel, they gave us meals, they gave us swag. And of course, we got early access to the new DUNE Imperium game, DUNE Imperium Uprising. I'll give my thoughts on that in a little bit. And if you're wondering why this isn't a vlog, I've learned that I'm too socially awkward to record myself in front of other people, so this is what you get. So a little bit about the event. I flew in on Thursday, and the tournament was set to be on Saturday. So I had 2 days to grind this game as much as humanly possible so I could get really freaking good and win this tournament. And I played pretty much nonstop. And it was such a cool vibe because everyone else was playing a ton too. And between games, we're talking about strategy, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. Because another aspect of this game is that Jimmy's team and the Direwolf team would all be entering this tournament as well. And they've all been playing this game for quite a while. So they have a lot of experience and we need to close that gap as quickly as possible. As for my general impressions of the game, I'm not going to go too into specifics right now. We'll wait for the full game release, but it is so much fun. If you're on the fence about pre-ordering this game, if you think it'll be as good, I love this game. I love it so much that it was hard to go back to DUNE Imperium Immortality and Rise of X afterwards. It is an incredible game, and I'm just excited to make content for it. I won't touch too much on strategy, but one big takeaway I had in the first 2 days is that if you want to win the game, unless you get some kind of broken card combo, you need to win a tier 3 combat with worms in the combat to double the combat rewards so you can get like a 3 or 4 point turn and then cross by a big margin and end the game at like 12 points or something like that. So that was the main strategy going into this tournament, in addition to some other small optimizations and stuff like that, getting friendships, etc. So as for my tournament performance, game number 1, I'm actually doing really well. I'm pretty consistently in first or second place the entire game, and I go for a really strong combat. I actually have the card that lets you pull back a spy to send in 3 troops, and I'm playing the leader that lets you send out spies, so I have a ton of troops ready to go. Unfortunately, I was playing with a gurney who gets extra troops with their ring, and they were fighting me on every combat that I wanted to go into. It was crazy, and they were winning. So I ended up losing the big tier 3 combat, and I lost some smaller combats along the way, which would have given me some points as well. And unfortunately, as a result, I ended up getting second place, and the person that beat me on all those combats ended up getting first place. So I finished the first game in second place, and not a bad result. You want to do as well as you can. If I can win a first, I'll probably be guaranteed to move on. So now we move on to the second game. And it was a really tough game. 2 of my opponents at the table got a card that lets you gain an extra bump when you pull back a spy, which we'll get into later is one of the strongest cards in the game. And you might possibly want to reveal turn 1 for. That's how freaking strong it is. Because it's so hard to get friendships in this game. Anything that gives you extra bumps is just amazing. It's so good. And 2 players had that. So it was incredibly hard game. I actually would have won if I got the last tier 3 combat, but freaking Luna ended up coming in over the top of me. I hit Highliner that round. I had a still guard to get extra troops in. I did everything I could, and I was actually winning on swords going in, but they had like 2 huge sword entry cards, and they ended up winning the combat, which let them get that big 2 to 3 point swing, while I ended up not getting that swing and finishing in 4th. So unfortunately, finished the second game in 4th place. So now going into the third game, I know I have to win first place or I am completely knocked out of this tournament. Getting 4th is terrible for your chances of moving on. And luckily for me, for my last game, I get freaking Rob in my group, who's another one of Jimmy's crew, who is insane at this game. Oh my gosh. So he's doing Rob things, and we're coming in on the first tier 3 combat, and it's the Machinations combat that gives you a bump with 2 different factions. And I'm looking at it. I have Highliner access. I'm set up for my big combat turn. Rob's the one who's going to win it. And looking at the way his faction influences spread out, he cannot end the game by winning this combat. So I'm like, okay, I won't fight him on this combat. I will set up for the next combat and try to go for a big win to get multiple points to win this game, because I have to win. I have to play to win here. And Rob is on his last turn of the round, and he plays this entry card. It's so freaking good. It lets you pay 2 water to break the wall and send a worm in. And he didn't even have Maker Hook, so I wasn't thinking he'd be able to play a worm at all. But since he can get a worm in with a stupid entry card, he doubles his rewards from Machinations. He ends up getting, I think, 2 alliances. He gets 2 points from the combat, which I was not expecting. And then he ends up crossing there before anyone else has a chance to do anything, and he wins the game. It was such a sad realization when he played that card. I was like, yeah, I'm knocked out now. Damn. It was definitely an unfortunate run. A couple of different combats go a different way. I definitely could have moved on, but I was new to the game. There are definitely some inefficiencies in my game for sure, you know, but I like how I performed, and everyone at my tables was super nice. It was such a cool vibe. I was worried because there was money on the line. Oh yeah, this was for $10,000, by the way. I was worried because there was money on the line. There'd be some sweats. Everyone would be kind of rude to each other. You never know what the vibe's gonna be, but the vibes were awesome. People were really cool about letting you take back moves and stuff. And yeah, it was a super fun tournament. I'm glad I got to participate. So I ended up getting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place and not moving on. The competition was insanely fierce, and congratulations to the people who did move on. And for anybody who's wondering who made it to the final table, it was Jimmy, Sneaker, You Got Franked, and Rob, the person who beat me in that last round of the group stages. And while I'm talking about everyone else, everyone at this event was super nice. It was such a good vibe. You never know how these things are going to go before you end up going there. I was like worried there might be some bad interaction, stuff like that. I've never really met any of these people before, and sure, I talked to them online, but things can definitely get awkward when you meet in real life for the first time, but it wasn't awkward at all. It was so much fun, except for one interaction. And people will know who I'm talking about here. Former friend of the channel, Lannister, got me so hard this weekend. First of all, sick meeting Lannister. All weekend, I'm like, okay, we've got to play a game. We've got to play a game. And every single time, it doesn't end up happening for whatever reason. And then it's the last day. The tournament's already over at this point. I have a flight to catch in a couple of hours, so I'm like kind of putting my life on the line here to get this last Lanny game in. So we agree to play a game. It's me, Lannister, Charlie, and Rashma. And we're waiting, and we're like, oh, where's Lanny? We're like waiting for like 5 or 10 minutes. And then we turn around and he's sitting at a different table. I'm like, Lanny, we're waiting for you. And he's like, oh, I already agreed to play at this table. So now I have to get up and leave the table I was waiting at to play a game with Lanny with a different group of people, which is already a little bit awkward and I feel bad. Sorry, Charlie and Rashma. And then we're sitting down, getting ready to play this game. And Lanny leaves again to play a game with CJ, Black Shadow, and Paul Dennon. Which, honestly, I can't blame you. That sounds like a really fun game. But, oh my God, Lanny, come on. But of course, now when we do play, I am going to have to chase all of your alliances and go in on all of your combats to teach you a lesson. I'm sorry. Also, interestingly, and I didn't realize going in, everyone at the tournament assumed I was going to be pretty short, and nobody recognized me at first. Just so you know, I'm actually a pretty tall guy. Here's a picture of me with Black Shadow and CJ for reference, and CJ's pretty tall. Maybe it's because I go for a downward camera angle. Everyone thinks they're like taller and like looking down at me. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. And now I just want to take a moment to talk about meeting Paul Dennon, the designer of DUNE Imperium. Super nice guy. I was kind of wondering coming in, like, is he more in love with the design aspect, doesn't really like playing the game as much, or is he like actually good at the game and likes playing it? Turns out this guy is a menace at DUNE Imperium. He is so freaking good. I don't know what I was expecting, but he had a really good tournament performance. He's talking about like very high-end level strategy stuff, and it was just awesome talking to him about the game. I mean, it's cool to know that he's so passionate about it. Now, of course, you're going to be passionate about like designing the game, but also playing it too. I don't know. It was sick. It was a dream come true meeting him, and I really look forward to seeing what he puts out in the future. And speaking of Direwolf, there were some other Direwolf people there as well. Scott, who's the owner of the company, Matt, and Justin, and they're all just awesome people. They're way more down to earth than I ever would have imagined, and it just makes me glad that I'm making content for a game that's made by such a cool company. Now, I've said a lot of nice things about Direwolf, but I do have a bone to pick. What the hell is this? This is the picture you choose to use on your website? I look fat, I look bald, my eyes are closed, I look like freaking Franklin the Turtle. Like, come on, you had to do me this dirty? So now, in addition to a grudge with Lannister, I also have a grudge with Direwolf. And you know what? While we're at it, Cheeseable used this photo of me in his video as well, so you're also in my book of grudges now. And last but not least, I did get to meet Jimmy, or MrBeast, while I was at this event. And funny story, I actually had the chance to talk to him before this event. One day, somebody posted in my Discord, like, oh, did you end up doing that thing with MrBeast? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they post a screenshot of MrBeast commenting on one of my videos asking to talk sometime about the game. I read every single comment that comes through. Sure, I don't answer most of them, but if MrBeast comments on one of my videos, I should freaking know about it. And I scrolled to the video they took the screenshot from on my phone, and there's no comment there. I'm like, what's going on? So I go onto my computer, look through the comments on the computer, and there it is. So what? I can only see this comment if I go on my computer? That makes no freaking sense. So I ended up responding to the comment way later. And of course, at that point, there's like no response from Jimmy, which is fair. But I thought that was a fun story, at least. As for meeting him at the event, seems like a cool guy. I didn't really talk to him much. He kind of had a group around him the whole time. And I don't like piling on people in those kind of situations. So when there was that opportunity, we did discuss the game a little bit, but not too much. Seems like a really cool guy. An absolute demon at DUNE Imperium. Oh my God. I mean, it makes sense. He ended up winning the whole freaking tournament. Holy crap. He is good at this game. We didn't get to play any games together at the event, but hopefully we can in the future. We'll see how it goes. That was my experience at the event. It was super fun. I really hope we can do it again sometime. It was really fun playing with other DUNE Imperium maniacs like myself, and thanks for watching.